Hi, everybody, and welcome to this segment of the Global Green Initiative. I'm here today with Laura Ganon, and we're going to talk about how the initiative is impacting the organizations like FIDI, LACMA, and the IAM as well. So please allow me to introduce Laura to you all today. So Laura Ganon is the CEO of Think Mobility in Brazil. And besides Think, Laura has been dedicated to the industry and serving the LACMA board for over 10 years. And in fact, she was the first female president of LACMA as well. She represents the ERC in Brazil, and now she's the newly elected FIDI president for us. Laura studied social communications and has 33 years working at Think with expatriates. Thank you so much for joining us today, Laura.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much for inviting me and for the opportunity to talk about this subject that is a passion for me.
Absolutely. It's such a pleasure to have the opportunity to talk with you as well from your perspective in leadership roles and your involvement in the global community. As many of us know, the Global Green Initiative was established in 2019, and it's a collaboration between the FIDI 39 Club, the IMYP, and the LACMA Next Group. Its foundation is to bring environmental awareness to the moving and relocation industry. And we aim to educate the future of the moving generation with the importance of improving sustainability in our industry. So I'm going to kick it off with a question to you, Laura, and ask you, how important is it for younger generations to come together on projects like the Global Green Initiative? What does the industry gain? And how does this complement individuals' work for?
Well, to start with, it is the younger generation that has always been the engine of change in our civilization. So it is very important. And if I can put it in one word, I think it's a matter of survival. So it is excellent, and it's a blessing that we see now this initiative, and we can only give total support and try to collaborate together with the younger generation in our industry so that we can achieve common goals for the sustainability. Because, I think that I was reading the other day a study from PwC where it said that 58% of investors will only invest now in funds that consider ESG, environmental, social, and governance. 77% of investors declare they plan to stop buying products from non-ESG companies. So ESG is becoming a critical component for the investors to choose where they're going to put their money. And I think that is just a matter of survival, as I said, that companies pay attention to this. In times of hyper-connectivity and hyper-transparency, in my opinion, no company can be oblivious to the society demands. As Kofi Annan said back in 2004, who cares wins. So I'm very happy to see the FIDI 39 Club, the YP, IAM group, and LACMA Next getting together to try to do something more solid in this collaboration.
And Laura, let me ask, what do you think the companies for which we all work for, what do they gain from our involvement in such initiatives like the GGI?
Well, I believe that, first of all, in my personal experience and in my perspective, all the investments that we do in environmental and social and diversity responsibility are paid back to the companies very, very quickly. Just a couple of examples. In my case, in Think, we have invested a good amount of money to build rainwater collectors to use in our facilities, because we have big facilities and we have gardens and we have the trucks to wash and bathrooms, of course. And people could think, oh, this was a huge investment just because of environmental responsibility. Actually, some years later, we are saving so much money in water that, it's actually a saving. Same thing with energy. We changed all our lighting system to make sure we would be sustainable. And now I know that we would be paying double or triple what we spend in energy. And then on the social arena, we have always been very strong in training, because we believe that we should give the people who work and think an opportunity to grow professionally. But actually, this means talent retainment, which is such a big issue nowadays. And we are not feeling this problem, because investing in people and having social awareness in the company and as managers of people, we keep them because they want to be in a company that cares for them. So I think there's not only the bigger picture, that is, we have to care for our planet, for our civilization to survive, but there's also the immediate management decisions that will do good for your company. And it's not just in the long run. I think it's, these investments pay off very, very quickly.
I totally agree. As part of Arpin and the initiatives that we have focusing on the environment and focusing on ESG, it makes you feel much more part of a family. And the values, if you can share those values with the company that you're working for, it's an immense pleasure to work for them and to support and to look at opportunities to engage in the communities that we work in. And being companies that we work globally, it gives us a chance to help to influence communities all across the world. So I find that incredibly exciting as well. The other question I wanted to ask you as well is, what inspires you about the collaboration and outreach from projects like these, like the Global Green Initiative? What is it that you see being done and that you yourself would say, wow, that's a fantastic success. I'm so proud of the young professionals.
Well, to start with, the FIDI 39 Club started all this environmental conversation back, I don't know, 2019, 2018, I guess, with these micro events and trying to create awareness within FIDI and within the club. And LACMA, still now, but from the time I was in the board, LACMA was already doing many initiatives. The LACMA Next people with all the environmental initiatives and the social initiatives with Un Techo para Mi País project, the LACMA Earth project that LACMA has sponsored for many, many years. The IAM-YP also with many initiatives. I think that it is very inspiring because we see the collaboration, the union between the groups. Instead of working individually, each one doing its own things, you guys saw that this is a much bigger challenge that needs collaboration, that needs that you work together. Also, it's the same thing actually that is happening among FIDI and IAM and EURA and Omni and the RMCs. We are all finally understanding that to turn a complex issue that looks very complicated to everybody, we need a common approach. We need to get together, and the 39 Club is not only the first initiator of this conversation, but also is participating heavily in all these initiatives. We have to get together, discuss together, and help and build a roadmap for our industry. It cannot be different actions from different associations. We need to do one roadmap that looks easy enough for the moving companies, the mobility companies to follow and to adapt to their own organizations. And that's how we can, in our industry, make a change, a concrete change in the way we do things, which is really very, very important.
Yeah, I certainly saw that with the latest events in terms of how the collaboration and learning from each other, the sharing, especially what LACMA did in Miami with the beach cleanups, as well as FIDI in Cannes with the beach cleanup as well. And just the lessons between each, learning lessons during the whole preparation as well, as like how to make a better impact together. And there's, like you're saying, there's so many initiatives that we could take, but we're stronger together. And if we have that initiative to collaborate, to share best practices, what's been successful, what hasn't been successful, we can really start moving forward much faster. The next question I wanted to ask you is, what do you think the impact is that for associations like FIDI or IM or LACMA have on the growth and traction of the GGI? How can we collaborate together with those boards as well as the larger communities of each of those associations?
Well, I think, first of all, as I said, for our membership of all these organizations, it's very important that we can have one common approach. Also, not just to make it easier for each company to know what they can do, but also because you see, if you work, a company that works for several RMCs or for several corporations, we get crazy because we have different demands from each of these organizations. Each one wants us to fill pages and pages of answering questions on what we are doing on ESG. And then we have some RMCs asking us to subscribe to some platforms to measure our actions and our carbon footprint. And there are so many different things. So with these initiatives of talking among us and working on this together, we will be able, in my opinion, not only to help companies to do what they have to do, to understand what they can do, but also to make these companies, corporations, and RMCs understand that they could just use what we can offer as a global union of organizations to prove to them that the members of these organizations, they do what they are supposed to do, and maybe make it easier for us, companies that work for, our customers, being able to prove that we are doing what we can, we are growing, we are developing our actions.
Mm-hmm. And we're doing those together, right? Through collaboration.
And doing those together, absolutely. And regarding this, as you know, we had our first meeting of a roundtable on sustainability together with the main stakeholders, the 39 Club, we had IAM, we had Omni, we had URA, we had RMCs present in the FIDI conference in Cannes, and we were all together discussing. It was like the first meeting to organize this joint approach. So we also had some external experts to talk to us and to help us understand what we can do. And we are gonna have the second one in Atlanta in November. So we think that we can quickly develop something for the industry. And actually, like the FIDI 39 Club is already with the GGI initiative, FIDI will also publish probably mid-June our report on what we can do. It's a report moving to 2030 based on the United Nations sustainable goals that were published. And it's very interesting because these sustainable development goals, if you read them, I don't know if you have, but
yeah,
you have.
We use those actually as our organization. We use the UN's SDGs as our roadmap for our programs and developments.
Perfect. Because I don't know if you'll agree with me, but when you read it, it's overwhelming. It's like, oh my God, because it's 17 goals only. It looks easy, but then it's 196
Yes.
actual
Subsets.
points.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this report will try to dissect each of these goals into objective actions that a moving company or a mobility company can do. And this, I think, will make it very easy for companies to understand that it is not impossible. It is not so complex. We actually can do things today, start doing some things today without putting any money that probably companies don't even think about. So
that's the hardest part, the application, because like you said, the UN's goals, they cover anything and everything. But for the moving industry, how do we apply those into our businesses? That could be an incredibly helpful roadmap to articulate.
Yeah. I also think that the optimum is the enemy of the good. And many times companies want to embrace the planet and think that, oh, it will be impossible to do all this. And then they don't do nothing. So I think what it's very important for people to understand is that every little thing counts, and you can do things that do not require investments, actually will become savings to your company, and that will really, really help the planet, society, and the future generations. We all want our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren to have a nice, beautiful planet to live with a better society than what we have right now, a more balanced, more fair, and with happier people.
Absolutely. And I love that, because it's just get started. Even if it's switching out light bulbs to be more energy efficient, or reducing the amount of use for water and things like that, just small steps to get traction and on the way. I love that.
Absolutely. When I started thinking about energy, and I have to confess, it was a mixture of sustainability passion to wanting to save money for Think. We looked into solar panels, and it was a huge investment. And then, my principle, the optimum is the enemy of the good. Let's just change everything to LED first. So now we are mature enough, or we have the means to start into changing. That's a project we have this year to start installing solar panels in our warehouses. So, one step at a time. And each company has its own agenda, its own financial possibilities, its own sizes and time to spare into looking into it. But as I said, each little thing counts. Small little things. Stop buying disposable plastic cups and buy one glass cup for each employee, small little things.
Small steps are so important. And that's what the initiative is founded on for the GGI, is to bring awareness for those small steps, for everybody to collaborate together and say, this is what's possible. This is what you can do. This is what others have done as well, to really help to build that momentum. Well, Laura, I just wanted to thank you so much for the time to speak together, to learn from you, to hear about Think and the amazing projects that you guys have been doing in Brazil as well, and the future work for FIDI too, in terms of sustainability and creating the standards for the industry. So looking forward to being a part of that and celebrating that together. And thank you again so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Michael. It's been a pleasure.